Hi, I'm Shane with the Drum Center Portsmouth in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. We're on the web at drumcenternh.com. Today we are featuring the George Way tradition tuxedo outfits, something I'm very excited about. The George Way drums are a little bit different. These aren't like your other type of drum company where there's all these custom options or whatnot. These drums are made in batches. The sets are made in batches, and so it's a very limited thing. And special orders really aren't something that's you're able to do. Sometimes we can get some component add-on drums, but they're only in traditional depths. So, you know, your bass drum is going to be 14 inches deep, and your 12-inch toms are going to be 8 inches deep. So if you're looking for something that's like customizable, like super long kick drums or things like that, that's not what these drums are. This is sort of a limited thing in traditional sizes, and just get them while you can, because when they're gone, they're gone. It's very limited. He's done some cherry kits in the past, some birch, some walnut, and this year it's mahogany, which is a 4-ply mahogany with the reinforcement hoops. I've taken the head off of one of these. It's got a really nice work. These are really nice shells. But one thing they feature on these is the new Resotone heads, which is, I believe it's a timpani film. If I'm not, don't hold me to that. I'm almost sure it's a timpani film, very reminiscent of the old Ludwig heads. It's funny how 15 years ago everybody was hearkening for the old Ludwig drum sound, and now everybody's wanting the old Ludwig drum head sound. So these have a modern twist in the fact that they're made by Remo. So we have the quality control and obviously a stronger collar than a lot of the older Ludwig heads. So these are, you know, vintage style drums, definitely made to emulate the sound of older drums. But there's definitely a bit of a power to them that I really don't get out of a lot of the other drums that are made to be vintage. And I think the heads have a lot to do with that. But typically, in my experience, and you may disagree, and that's totally cool, you know, the more round a bearing edge that we have, the more presence you're going to feel. And the sharper edge, the more you're going to hear it. So when I was gigging out and playing in bands with 2 guitars, and my bass player had an SVT Ampeg and an 810 cabinet, that's not what these drums are for. I needed a sharp edge with a straight-walled shell of hard wood. These are a softer wood with a rounder edge. This is all about presence. These are wonderful near-field drums if you're in a mic'd-up situation or in a recording studio. My God, these are wonderful, wonderful drums. If you're trying to cut through, you know, a wall of amps and you hit like this is probably not the kit. But for, you know, if these fit your fancy, man, they're awesome drums. They have a lot of air, a lot of presence, but just the right amount of attack. I really feel he really nailed it with these heads, because I'm getting the attack I want out of these drums. It's always a bit of a sticking point with me because I like to have enough attack, which isn't really common on drums like this. For instance, I really have been trying to come around to this type of sound, and I took a vintage style kit on a gig recently, and I went up and played it, and it sounded really great while I was sitting over it. But when another drummer played them during one of the tunes that I went out front, the only thing I could think of was like, this sounds like a bootleg from Woodstock. You know, I was hearing a lot of slap, but I wasn't hearing a lot of air out of the drums. These seem to do a bit of both, so they're really special. Again, very limited configurations. This particular set that I'm sitting at now is a bop configuration, which is an 18-inch bass drum, has a 12-inch rack tom, 14-inch floor tom. And we also have a downbeat configuration with a 20 by 14, 12 by 8, 14 by 14. And then we have a 22 by 14, 13 by 9, 16 by 16. And then we do a 26 with a 14 by 10, and an 18 by 16. Oh, and there's also a 24 by 14 with a 13 and a 16. Playing a George Way snare as well here. This is the Bronze 6.5, which nice and woody, lots of body, great sounding snare drum. Good fit for these drums. And we're featuring the Zildjian Special Dries, which just came out. This is February 2017, by the way. So Zildjian came out with the Special Dries 15 some odd years ago, and they were just like this, but had a much faster decay. And they didn't really do well because that trend wasn't really in yet. So they sort of abandoned that project and went on to other things. And now here we are in 2017, and dry and dark and smoky is very, very popular. They decided to reintroduce them, but they put a different little twist on them. And one thing that I really notice about these is they have that pitch that people really want, very low and just very wobbly, but they have a sharp attack, which isn't as common with some of the other ones that I've played. So what I've seen is popular right now is a lot of people making videos on YouTube, not unlike what we're doing right now. And these types of cymbals sound really great in that type of environment when you have close miking and things like that. But again, if you're playing out live, you can't hear it 3 rows out. So if you're close miking it, great. That's fine. They sound wonderful. But if you need to project, again, these probably aren't those cymbals. But man, they sound good when I'm just sitting here playing them. We've got the 15-inch hats and the 19-inch crash, and with the 23 ride and the 19 trash crash, which I love that cymbal. Stick. Really cool. A stick attack on that ride too. And it still sounds like a Zildjian. It has that Zildjian thing. Did a really nice job with these. So these George Ways are very, very cool, very limited. If it's something that you want to do, I would suggest acting sooner than later.